Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Leslie and today I am making a card for Jaded Blossom's blog, and we are going to be using the hot air balloons, the gingerbread add-ons, the tree die, this beautiful Christmas paper, and not the mini gnomes. I changed my mind. So let's get all the pieces out for die cutting. I am doing the frosting for the gingerbread. We're doing Christmas lights. We're doing a little bow. We're doing pieces of the hot air balloon, all kinds of fun stuff to die cut. This took me way too long to die cut. This little light set here, the bulb, the individual bulb, there's just one. Since this is kind of an older die set of Jaded Blossoms, and since then they have done more when they come to their dies and things like this, they tend to have like a cluster of like 4 or 5 of these little things. This one was obviously one of their older ones that only had one. And I wanted lots of Christmas lights, so I had to die cut this like 36 times. When I say this is a labor of love, y'all, that was a labor of love. I wanted them to be all the same color. Since I'm using so many colors in the actual hot air balloon, I wanted to make them sparkly, so I used a gold glitter paper. And yes, I ran it through at least 36 times, maybe a couple extra just in case, because I'm pretty sure I ended up putting a couple extra back in with the die set, because I'm like, I'm not just throwing that away, that will get used. But this is how the little lights come out. They are so cute and shiny, and no, I'm not going to make you sit through a whole 3 more sets. So moving on to the gingerbread, I am just darkening a piece of cardstock here. You could recut out the gingerbread heads and insert just the faces if you wanted to, but I figured this was a little bit easier for me, and I'm okay with the cardstock not being flush. And then I just placed it on top, and then I'm going to just cut around the head here, just because I didn't want to accidentally not have enough, and so this was easier for my brain to comprehend. So it's a little bit darker so that you can actually see the little face, and then I take my scissors and I go ahead and cut around that real easily here. And then my little gingerbread is ready to get its little frosting. I think these guys are so cute. I have been going through all my Jaded Blossom dies lately, kind of seeing what I have. They do have a sale going on if you're watching this in July of 2025. They do have their yearly sale right now where their dies are 25% off. So if you've ever been interested in getting some Jaded Blossom dies or stamps, everything is on sale right now except for their most recent releases. So definitely check it out and build up your stock. But I've been going through mine to see what I have so that I know what I still need to order. And I found these guys and I'm like, oh, they're the perfect size for this hot air balloon. They're a little bit smaller than the mini gnomes, so I figured they'd be just perfect, and they are. I've been wanting to do a Christmas version with this hot air balloon because I'm kind of going, it could be for any holiday season, and I wanted to show that off. So I needed to do a Christmas version, and when I saw that these gingerbread were just all the perfect size, I had to do it. So I'm just going ahead and gluing all the little frosting pieces on. I'm not sure I'm exactly putting them how they should be. I have not I did not go back and watch any of Leanne's videos where she shows how to put these together. So I'm just kind of winging it, and I like how they come out. And after all that, half of them gets hidden anyway. So I'm doing a little bit too much work here, but it's okay. They still come out really cute. And then, of course, I had to add the bows to both the man and the woman gingerbread here. One for her little hair. I just thought it was so cute. And then one has a little bow tie for him. And then I did decide to put all 3 little buttons on him. You could just do 2. You could just do 1. You could skip the buttons if you want to. You could die cut these out in different colors and kind of make them like gumball-y, or you could use the actual gumballs. I think you would only be able to fit 1 or 2 on there though, because there is a little gingerbread house that also comes with this set, and I've used that for another card before, and it has the cutest little gumballs that are just so tiny, but I don't think they'd quite fit on him. You'd maybe be able to do maybe 1 or 2. But anyway, moving on. I decided to do all 3 buttons here, just get them lined up, and those are my little gingerbread people. Aren't they so adorable? Now that red paper is a bit patterned. You can't really tell on the video, but it is the same red that is going to be on the hot air balloon. So we're going to go ahead and move on to that. I'm just setting out all my little pieces here. I'm using kind of some dark brown for the basket, but I am using that red pattern paper for the top border of both the basket and the bottom border of the hot air balloon itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and start putting those pieces together. I love the layering with this die set. It's just so cute, and you can kind of do as many layers as you want to, or minimum kind of thing. You could just cut out the hot air balloon with just the one color if you wanted to, or you can do all the layers here like I am today. And of course, like I said, this hot air balloon could be used for practically any holiday. And right now I'm just trying to figure out if I want to do more green or more of that candy cane stripe. I do end up more with the green just because I wanted the red to be a little bit more subtle, since I was using so much red on the basket and the border, just to kind of really tie in everything that I'm doing for this video. This idea was just because I wanted to make a Christmas version, and so I was going through my dies and finding that little gingerbread people. They were so cute. But then I also went, oh, I want to put Christmas lights on this hot air balloon. Well, the Christmas lights that I'm using are part of the Make a Tree die set. And so then I was like, ooh, tree, how could I, like, in my brain, it popped in, like, how could I use this tree die in with this card? And you are about to see, I just love how this card came out. I have actually never used the tree die itself to make a card. I always use the little lights on it. And then even with this one, I'm only using the tops of the trees because I'm making a cute little hot air balloon scene, like wintry scene. So that is what we're doing today. With the hot air balloon, it just puts it together like a puzzle. You just kind of got to line it up, and I suggest using liquid glue just so you have a little bit more of that wiggle room, just to make sure that you are lining it up correctly. If you are like me and have some issues getting things perfectly straight, the liquid glue helps a lot. So just putting on the final strings here. I did decide to put them in the same brown as the bucket. I could have used red. I could have used green. Could have made them, you could have kept them white kind of thing. You do you. This is where the creativity really gets to shine here. And I'm just, sorry, this is a little off camera. I'm making sure it lines up correctly. And that is my little hot air balloon. Just its base here, and then we got to add in all the little lights. So these lights, they look pretty short, but where they end and start, you kind of do your own thing, but they line up really well. And so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to add some liquid glue along the string and on the little light bulbs themselves, just so that I really get a good adherement. Is that the word I'm looking for? Anyway, I want it to stick down real well. You guys know I do these voiceovers at night. By the end of the evening, I don't have a brain, but this is the only time where it's quiet in my house. So here we are. Sorry for any words I may be making up. So anyway, I'm just lining up that cord there. And it just lines up so beautifully. There might be a little bit overlap with the cord just because of how I wanted to do it, but it works out so well. And then the part that hangs off, I am going to go ahead and cut that off, and then we'll use that leftover for the bottom, because we're also putting lights on the basket, because why not? So just using my scissors there. I love these scissors. They're just nicer on my hands, and it makes fussy cutting so much easier. So if you struggle with fussy cutting, I suggest these kind of scissors where they're I don't know what kind they are. Fiskars. They're Fiskars brand, but I don't know the naming of them. So if you do, let me know down in the comments. Like pincers or something like that. Anyway, I am making this card for Jaded Blossom's blog. I am taking it over this Wednesday, and next Wednesday is my last time. And I've just been loving guest designing for them, and I'm hoping that, maybe this opens up an opportunity to be a designer for them later on. But I have just had such a great time designing for them. I have so many of their products anyway, so I love making videos showing these beautiful dyes that they now have. And part of the great thing that I love about them lately is that because they had to get a new dye factory place, their dyes now come already snipped. So, which is just fantastic because I hate snipping dyes. I don't know if anybody else does. That's my lovely little hot air balloon with my gingerbread people. Aren't they so cute? Okay, so now we got to move on to the tops of the trees. So I'm adding all the snow. And then the middle pieces, I wasn't sure exactly which snow pieces went where. So I just kind of did my own thing. And, that's how snow is. It's not all the same. And then I did bump up the top pieces with a little bit of foam tape just to kind of give it some more dimension. And see, that's how we're going to set up this. So now we're going to move on. I am using the cloud stencil from Jaded Blossom and the Simon Says Stamps Positively Saturated ink in marine. And we're going to go ahead and ink blend our little cloudy wintry sky. I didn't really make it snowing because you wouldn't really be doing a hot air balloon with snow or with it snowing. But I figured, can they do them in winter? I mean, I don't really know a whole lot about hot air balloons. I've always kind of been curious about trying one. Has anybody ever tried a hot air balloon ride? Let me know how it went in the comments. I have a healthy fear of heights. I'll say that. I'm not a huge fan of heights. Once I'm up there, I'm fine, but the going up kind of thing or the feeling of falling, I'm not cool with that. But I've been on top of roofs and things like that. I'm not a huge fan of the ladders, mostly because I've fallen off small ones before, and at one point I actually fell through a step stool. It was like a 3-step step stool, but I fell kind of down through it because it broke. It was old. It broke, and I sprained my ankle so bad that I was in crutches for 3 months. So now I'm not a huge fan. But heights and me, I don't know. I kind of think I would want to do it if I got the chance, but I haven't got the chance to do a hot air balloon ride. So maybe one day, bucket list. All right. So moving on, I did want to add a little bit more of this candy cane paper, but I didn't want to use it all because this is my last sheet, and I love the star print on the other side, and I haven't got to use it on a card. So of course I did cut out the middle piece with one of my rectangle dies. This is just gonna be real thin showing anyway, because I want that hot air balloon is about the size of an A2 card. And so to make a little scene, you can't do a whole lot of outside layers, but I did want a few just to kind of frame it in. So I am putting a little bit of Post-it tape inside my card there just to keep it closed. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my cloud scenes here. So I did cut that down with the same rectangle dies that I just have in my stash, just to make it a little bit smaller, and so that it had that really nice edge, because I did get a little heavy with the ink on the right side, so I did cut that off just to make it a bit cleaner. And then I did find another rectangle die in my set, a little frame one that I thought this kind of reminded me of like frosting on like a cake and things. And so I kind of thought that would bring in a little bit more of the whole gingerbread theme. I could totally see making a hot air balloon that is full on gingerbread theme, like, kind of like a gingerbread house, but instead it's a gingerbread hot air balloon, really get like the gumballs. Gumballs? Is that what it's called? No, it's called gumdrops. Sorry. The gumdrops on it, or different candies, a lot more brighter colors. I did go with traditional Christmas colors for this one, but I could only see doing that. So I just love all the ideas that have been popping in my head with this hot air balloon. And I didn't use the mini gnome dies this time around, but I have been loving this tiny little gnome die. And you are definitely going to be seeing a mother-daughter card soon. I don't know if that's going to be this month or later on, but I have ideas. So I did decide, I started with this tree. I'm like, I'm going to put it in frame. And then when I start putting the hot air balloon on and the other trees, I realized that's not going to work. So I kept this one in frame though, because it's kind of like the back layer. I am putting some foam tape on the tops of the trees just because I did bump them up a little bit. And then I'm going to have to put more foam tape on them in a minute. So I'm just trying to kind of figure out how I want my card to lay out. I don't tend to pre-plan or make a different card and then make this one for you guys. I do everything in the moment, so you kind of see me there a little bit, positioning and repositioning. I did skip a lot of that because it was like a good 5 more minutes of me going, do I want the tree here? Do I want the tree there? Do I want it in front of the hot air balloon and behind the hot air balloon? I guess the way I ended up going here, it does kind of look like we're crashing a little bit into the trees, but it's still cute. It's fine. I did decide to bump up this hot air balloon with some foam tape. I wanted to create a lot more dimension in it. This card, I don't know if I'll send it through the mail or just hand it off to someone, since it does have quite a bit of dimension, but I just love dimension and it just comes out so cute. So there I'm trying to just really line up my hot air balloon. I didn't want to have to cut off any of it because I wanted it all to be on one. So I'm making sure that it doesn't go off the edges there. But I did decide to put this particular tree in front of it. So it's kind of like they're going through the trees, but we're not crashing into any of the trees. We're just about the top of the trees at the moment. And then I am going to cut off the parts of the trees that are going off the card, just because I don't want to have to put this in a 5x7 envelope, but you could if you wanted to. And then the Christmas Blessings is part of a stamp set from Jaded Blossom. It's actually called Christmas Blessings. And I just fussy cut around that after stamping it. And there are coordinating dies though, so if you don't like fussy cutting, I highly suggest the coordinating dies. But this is just, I'm trying to figure out where I want exactly to put this sentiment, kind of where it fits. I decided to put it on the balloon but a little bit off, so I am putting foam tape on the very right side just so it's even and doesn't bend down too much. So, and then this is where I decide to use my glitter pen. And if you've seen my other videos, whenever I use my glitter pen, I instantly regret it. And right there you can see I pressed a little too hard and just kind of flooded that one tree. So that tree got a little bit of extra glitter that, it didn't need, but it's still pretty and it still worked and it dried well. So it's fine. I love-hate relationship with glitter pens, but that is my final card. Oh, I love it so much. And I'm so happy to be on Jaded Blossom's blog this month. So definitely check out that and check out their items. Hit the like button, subscribe if you aren't, hit that bell. I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!